Master Gibbs here with theboxingvoice.com in association with FightHype.com with heavyweight Michael Hunter. Mike, I wanted to get your thoughts, obviously, on Gervonta Tank Davis moving up to 140. He's going to be taking on Mario Barrios for the regular 140-pound title. The super champion is Josh Taylor. What's your thoughts on Tank moving up? He started his career at 126.
Right. I mean, Gervonta Davis is a dog, man. He's strong. I watched him spar my little brother.
Keith?
Yeah, they had some.
Isn't Keith very tall?
Yes,
How tall
compared
is he?
to he's about 6 foot.
Wow.
But he fights at 35, 40.
How recent was this?
It's been a few years. Yeah, it's been a few years. He was he champ? I don't think he was a champ yet. When Keith fought, I don't think he was a champ yet. But he was still, he's still a dog. But I think that Barrios to win, to get something out of this fight, to win this fight, he got to put a lot of pressure on him. I think that Gervonta, I seen him, get a little shabby under pressure a little bit. But he's a dog, so it's not like he didn't crack under pressure. I ain't saying that, but that's probably the only way to to get him. Because he's not gonna do nothing special and slick. Barrios is more of a straight up fighter, throws a lot of punches. So I think strong comes forward, and I think that's a good a matchup. A good matchup for Gervonta to win that fight. Kind of just like his last fight. Leo Santa Cruz, Spanish Mexican, comes forward. Doesn't really have that slick move, that eye, and I think that's what's gonna get him over.
So I gotta say it, man. You said doesn't have the slickness. Do you think they're strategically avoiding the slick black fighter right now and using the Mayweather, as Mayweather would say, green print, a black fighter versus a Mexican fighter?
Absolutely. I mean, you could obviously see that. That's not even, that's like wide open. You know what I'm saying? You can see it. And he's under Floyd, so Floyd obviously would guide him right into the trenches, but in the right way. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely think that it's a strategic move. You know what I'm saying? But this is about strategy. So it's all business.
His last pay-per-view, rumored to do 220,000 pay-per-view buys. The Leo Santa Cruz, 4-time champion. How well does this one do?
Probably a little bit less than that. I don't know. I could see this fight doing numbers, but probably not as well as Leo. I think a lot of the fans love to see Leo, and that's another thing too. It's strategic because Mexican fighters support each other. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's that Mexican pride. So for them to be picking Mexican fighters and Spanish fighters, that they know that there's gonna bring a crowd there. You know what I'm saying? I think that they kind of they try to tend to put it on Gervonta.
He's going to Atlanta, though, ain't he? I'm not saying there's not Mexicans in Atlanta.
But see how the strategic, but they're going to watch. It's about views, you know what I'm saying? So,
yes.
But you see how the strategic, like you said, now they're going to a black, basically like a black town, you know what I'm saying, to fight a Mexican. So it's very, very strategic, you know what I'm saying? And, that's what Floyd was the best at, you know what I'm saying?
Strategy.
Yeah. I think if it was a different dynamic, it would be a much harder situation.
Mike, I wanted to get your thoughts, obviously, on Erickson Lubin. You're in his gym. He trains out of his gym with Camp Cunningham. He's going to be taking on former unified champion Jeison Rosario from the Dominican Republic. What's your thoughts on that matchup? They got common opponents, too. I don't know if you know. Obviously, Lubin faced Gallimore. So did Rosario, and I think they have another common opponent.
Okay. I think that's a good fight for Lubin. I think that's a very winnable fight for Lubin. When we're all at a certain level, it's all about preparation and strategy. You know what I'm saying? So it's very hard to see that. We don't get to see the gym stuff. So I think it happens. It goes to preparation, but I think that's a very winnable fight for Lubin. I think he can pull that off.
Now, when it comes to Jeison Rosario, do you think that he can recover from that Jamel trouble fight? I mean, he was one of the oddest knockouts in boxing. And my 12 years doing this, it was a Jackson body.
Oh, yeah.
He started having like convulsions.
Yeah, I remember that.
Is he gonna be hundreds from that? Can he come back from that?
You know, when things tend to happen like that, it puts a question mark on those guys' heads. So that there might be some chinks or something weak in there. So that's a benefit for Lubin. We don't know what really happened, but we know that it happened, and analytics. You know what I'm saying? So if it happened one time, it can happen again.
Wanted to get your thoughts on another American, obviously Olympian, Errol Spence, now unified champion, taking on Manny Pacquiao. I interviewed Gervonta Mendoza at the Haney Linares Las Vegas fight, and more than likely Pacquiao's going to get reinstated as champion in recess to full super champion with the WBA, 3 belts on the line. Your thoughts on that fight for Earl?
I think it's a great fight for Earl. I think that is a step closer to cementing his legacy to beat Pacquiao. I mean, we already know everybody respect Pacquiao. Pacquiao is great. He comes to fight. So even though he's at towards the end of his heyday, I think that he obviously, we know he's still a problem. You know, he's beaten a couple of young guys in the last few fights, and I think that this cements more. Earl, does this, and it depends on the fashion that he does it as well. I think that Earl's capability, he could do it in great fashion. You know what I'm saying? They don't call him the truth for nothing.
Do you think that he can stop Pacquiao? Because he came out and said that he was 70-80% in the Danny fight, and he fought like that. So does 100% Errol Spence have the capability of stopping the Manny Pacquiao?
Absolutely. I think Earl could stop anybody in that weight class, or has the capability to stop anybody in that weight class. When it comes to that, to the fight, it just depends on the strategy and how they're using it. But Pacquiao's a great, but I think Earl could do it.
What's the new Mayweather Pacquiao in boxing?
The new Mayweather Pacquiao? Oh, it's Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford.
Damn, I love it. This man knows his boxing. So it's taking long for this fight to happen, but it's going down that route where everyone wants it. What's your thoughts on it? Obviously, Earl has business with Pacquiao, but everybody wants Crawford Spence.
I think that's a big statement. I think if I know they've been arguing about the percentages, 50-50, 60-40, blah, blah, blah. I think if Earl outclasses Pacquiao, he gonna have to get a little bit of the percentages, and all the arguments and all that is gonna it's gonna change. The analytics is gonna change. So, but we all want to see it, but I don't know how close it is for it being done. You know what I'm saying? It's some Pacquiao Mayweather situation. You know how long that was how long they wasted our time with that. So, but I know there's different dynamics of it. So we really don't know.
So for me, Pacquiao Mayweather was easy. I always felt like Mayweather was going to win. He done that. But with Earl and Spence, I think it's a little bit more difficult. Even though I favor Earl because of resume, and that's the same reason I don't favor Crawford because of resume, everyone seems to think Terrence is the special one. It's just hard for me to put him above Earl when he hasn't fought that toughness of a fighter that Earl is fighting.
Right. And they both some rough, rugged dogs, you know what I'm saying? So it's definitely going to be a very interesting fight. I think fundamentally, Earl has a little bit more just because of talent-wise. I think Terrence is a little bit more because of the switch. He's a switch hitter. He got both hands. He's a little bit more dynamic in that sense. But the foundation and the strength, I think, kind of goes to Earl in a sense. So it's like you said, it's a very debatable and talked about controversial fight. So we all want to see it. But I would agree with you. It's very hard for me to put Terrence over Earl. I could see Earl getting an edge on that a little bit.
Mike, man, I want to get your thoughts on Tyron Woodley, man. They're putting a lot of pressure on Tyron. They're saying he's got to do it for the culture. They're also saying that this is the first fighter that Jake Paul is facing. Can Tyron upset Jake Paul in your opinion?
I mean, he's a full-blown fighter. I don't know how good his stand-up is. We know he's a big puncher, but when it comes to the technique and skills of the handwork and the subtle movements, I don't know if he's that good, but he's willing to, we know that he's willing to take punches and throw something back. So I think that it's obviously a dangerous fight for Jake. Tyron has competed at a world-class level in his most recent fights as well. So I think he could. I think it's possible, but I think Jake right now is, he's really been honing in, and he has the right mentality, and he has all the. I'm telling you, if you see this guy in training camp, he has everybody around him. He has everybody that's doing exactly what they need. It's like a Floyd Mayweather camp, you know what I'm saying? So it's going to be hard to beat anybody when you have that type of care, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know if Tyron Woodley has that type of care. Maybe in the MMA scene, I know he's kind of getting away from the MMA. I think he was dropped by UFC, right? So I don't know if he has that same type of tenderness and care for him. So I think Jake Paul's going to get that dub.
You think Mayweather was just saying it tongue to cheek, or he really would train Tyron and they end up linking up and Mayweather trains Tyron for the Jake Paul fight?
You never know. Floyd's, he says a lot of things. He does a lot of things. I mean, I can see them working, but I don't know if that will help that much. You know what I'm saying? It's maybe give him some pointers and stuff like that, but it's all gonna come. I don't know if Floyd's gonna put that much into him, you know what I'm saying? I see him working with him here and there, but taking him on, under his wing is a little different.
Did you meet him, Woodley, at the Logan Paul fight versus Mayweather?
I did. He seemed to have a little chip on his shoulder, and he seemed, maybe they already knew about that fight, but he seemed like he wanted that fight already. Like he was mad, he was in Ben Askren's corner, so I think he has a little chip on his shoulder, and yeah, it's a lot of pressure on him because he's fought in MMA, and this is like an MMA versus boxing type of situation. So he's gonna have to step to the plate. That's all.
You being a boxer, right? Like, do you think that height matters? Because I met him that day too. I feel like he was short compared to Jake. Does that matter in boxing, or is it going to matter for him specifically, being the shorter man?
I think it will matter. Like I said, the Jake Paul team, they all got high boxing IQs over there. They all got some. They all kind of got a lot of experience, and when it comes to the boxing, and they all know how to use it. And I think they're going to prep. This is about preparation, you know what I'm saying? So I think that they're going to prepare a lot more accurate than Tyron Woodley would.
You were at the Mayweather fight. Did you expect him to go 8? Did you think he would go 8?
It was, if you look at the dynamics of the fight, it wasn't like Conor McGregor, where they're close to the same size. Conor McGregor was pressing him and coming forward for the first couple of rounds. Conor McGregor's never fought in a 12-round fight or 48 minutes or whatever. The longest they fight is like 25 minutes. So I think Floyd, that was a perfect fight for Floyd to do what he did for the McGregor fight. But Logan was playing a little bit more safer. He hasn't had as much experience as McGregor, and he's a lot bigger. So I think they had a perfect game plan, especially for it to be no score. There was nobody's record was tampered. So I think that the win for him was to stay on his feet and win by decision in a sense. And I think he did that. Not to say he beat Floyd, but he was able to last. You know what I'm saying? And Floyd is not. I think Floyd also. He's used to. He's a vet. He's used to 12. He ain't fought an 8-round fight in You know what I'm saying? That's not his thing. You know what I'm saying? So he's a 12-round fighter, 15-round fighter. He can do that. He's a longevity. So I think that he kind of went with his normal game plan, which is to let people die out in the 3, 4, 5 rounds, and then he picks it back up. But there was only 8 rounds to do that, and I think he tried to press a little bit, and he just found out it was just too big for him. And I think that's just how it went.
Where do you think Logan goes from here? Like, can he get a bigger fight than this based off this?
I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of hard to say. I think they both kind of have to be a little bit more creative if they want to continue to fight. Floyd, I think they were kind of prepping to fight Jake, which could still possibly be there, but I think that Floyd and how the outcome is, I think that he's going to kind of let it go from here. And Logan, I think that he could get some other fights, but it's not obviously, fighting the GOAT. That's the biggest payday he probably going to get fighting a real fighter.
Now, obviously, he's got that fight out there with KSI. Does that even make sense at this point? If you're him, do you revisit that?
I think you do. I think that would be probably the another one. I mean, he's not going to obviously get the same, paycheck, but it's a paycheck. It's probably a bigger paycheck than he would get fighting anybody else other than his brother. So,
damn, why does everybody want him to fight his brother?
It's
this brother thing though. Like they did it to the
Klitschko's.
They asking the Charlos, like, why brothers gotta fight each other?
Well, I just think that people want to see a fight, and they're kin. You know what I'm saying? It's close, somebody similar that knows you. You know what I'm saying? It's something interesting. It's a different topic to talk about than what we're used to. You know what I'm saying? It's brotherly. You know what I'm saying? So. We all can have our own opinions about it. You know what I'm saying?